Hello and welcome back to Putnut's Kitchen. We really appreciate you watching the video. Give us one of these if you have the time. We really like those. Anyway, on to our topic today. We're talking about being on a diet, what it means to be on a diet, and what's going to crash your diet. I know. Look at me. I was on the keto diet for over 2 years. And I'll tell you what crashed me. But there were a couple other things that caused problems as well. What does it mean to be on a diet for a lot of people? Not just the keto diet, but any diet, really. There are some similarities. Oh, yeah. For one thing, you're going to be counting calories or counting carbs, and that can be kind of meticulous, gets on your nerves a little bit. You get tired of having to do it. You get tired of having to deal with it. I don't know about you, but I can remember back when I was younger, I ate like a horse. I ate like 2 horses and a cow and maybe a pig, all at the same time. Never gained a pound, 165 pounds, and man, did I pack away the groceries. And I always used to say, if I ever start getting fat, I'm just going to be fat. Well, unfortunately, I kind of lived up to that for a long time. But I tried several diets, and it didn't take me long to really quickly get tired of being starving to death. Just starving to death. And then I found the keto diet. And with the keto diet, I could actually feel full for a while and still lose weight. And it worked great for me. I got from 296 pounds down to 249 pounds. But I got into the 250s, and man, was it really, really hard to get down below 250. And I just, for months, could not get it to go any lower. My body decided it didn't want to go any lower than that, even though I wanted to lose another 50 pounds. So it can be really hard. Now, if you're like my wife, she likes this whole Mediterranean idea. She thinks we need to have something green on our plate every day. I don't really have not an option, but I don't really have a problem with that. I like green stuff. I like broccoli. I don't mind salad. Salad means food's coming, right? Any John Panette fans out there? But, then you have recipes. I'm not a big recipe follower because I am a cook. I like to cook. I'm good at cooking. I make a lot of my own stuff. If you followed my channel, you'll find out I have a lot of my own recipes that are pretty doggone good. But still, I followed some recipes. But some people who haven't been raised as a cook, like I was by my father, you have to follow recipes every day. And you feel like you have to follow them to the letter, which you don't, by the way. If you mess up, put a little too much of something in or a little too little of something in, unless you're baking pastries, most recipes have a large margin of error one way or the other, especially if you're not baking, which you don't do a whole lot of baking with the keto diet, unless you're making some of my wonderful bread, in which case, bake away. Anyway, I found 5 things that really put a dent in your diet. They can really crash it, so to speak. There are 5 different things. Now, the first one, of course, if you haven't figured it out already, is going to be processed foods. They got all the flashy red and yellow packages. They've got all the slogans. And, they're like sirens of old. They're calling to us as we go through the grocery store. They're kind of like Gingy. Eat me, right? They just want us to buy them and eat them. And we want to buy them and eat them because, quite frankly, they're delicious. I have a real soft spot for Chips Ahoy and a glass of milk. Ooh, I'll eat a whole string, half a package. I will. Won't even think about it. And that brings us to number 2, mindless eating. You're sitting in your chair at night, worked all day. You already had dinner. You just get a little case of the munchies. You want to eat something. Now, maybe you're going to stick to your diet. If you're like let's say you're on the keto diet, you might have something that's keto, some sausage and cheese possibly. But even on the keto diet, pardon me, even on the keto diet, calories count. And I think that was what my problem was, is I was overeating. Yeah, I was sticking to the keto diet. I was meticulous. I didn't never go off the diet for over 2 years. But when you're burning 3,000 calories a day and eating 5,000 calories a day, those calories have to go somewhere. It doesn't matter if they're fat and protein or carbs. They have to go somewhere, and your body's not going to just let them go. You spend all the time and trouble to take them in, it's going to put them somewhere. There they are, right there. Yep. So that's something to think about too, your mindless eating. That can really put a big dent in your diet. And I had a problem with that too, especially later on. At first I did really well, but after a while I started getting those late night munchies again. And I'd eat things that were keto, but I was still adding calories to the roster. And the third thing is inconsistency. And I'll tell you what I mean by inconsistency. One day you might make some broiled salmon with broccoli covered in cheese, right? The next day you're eating hot dogs with no bun. It's not really healthy to just eat junk food, even though it might be within the keto diet. It's still junk food. It's not good for you. It doesn't give you vitamins. It doesn't give you things that your body needs. It does keep you alive, keep you from being hungry, and once in a while that's just what you got to do. But you need to be more consistent. Eat healthy, planned meals on a regular basis. I struggled with that. I found myself a lot of times just having a pile of ham or some bacon and eggs, and bacon and eggs is fine, but not all the time. Bacon's not really that good for you. It's got the nitrates, got a lot of salt in it. Boy, it's good, isn't it? I have to say, bacon's fantastic. But it's one of those things. You want to be consistent. You do want to have, like my wife says, a little green on your plate every day, if you can. But then what's next? Emotional eating. It's another tough one. You get upset. If you're like me, you eat when you're upset. That's what happens. You eat when you're upset. You got to try to avoid that. When you're emotionally upset, eating makes you feel better. That's how most of us got the way we are, right? Let's be honest. That's the biggie. That's really a biggie, but that's not the biggie. That's not the number one thing. What is number one? What is the number one thing that kills diets? Cheating. Cheating, cheating, cheating. You might be disagreeing with me right now, but let me explain. Once you take a cheat day, and this is what happened with me. After over 2 years of being strictly on the keto diet, I thought one time, you know what, I really miss cheesecake. I wanted a cheesecake. And yeah, I have a good cheesecake recipe, a keto cheesecake recipe, but my wife wanted to make regular cheesecake. And I wanted some. It sounded so good. And I thought, you know what, I'll just have a cheat night. Not even a whole day, just one cheat meal. I'm going to have 2 or 3 of the things that I really, really love and really, really miss. And then tomorrow, back on the wagon. And I did. I had my cheat meal. Next day, back on the wagon. I did really good for 3, 4, 5 weeks. But that urge to cheat got fed when I got fed. And it got stronger. And my willpower got weaker. So then I thought, well, maybe I could start having one cheat meal a month. And I did that. Started having a cheat meal a month. Then it became a cheat meal every 2 weeks. Then it became a cheat day every 2 weeks. Then it became every Sunday. Before long, I wasn't dieting anymore. And I've tried to get back on it several times, and it just makes it 10 times harder to get back on after you've fallen completely off. I still use a lot of the things that I learned from keto. I generally start my day keto, don't always end my day keto. Some days I do, but most days I end up eating stuff I shouldn't as far as the keto diet's concerned before the day is over with. But I like to start out keto, eggs and bacon for breakfast, or something that doesn't have carbs for breakfast. And I've always had a problem. I could never just have a couple of donuts and a cup of coffee for breakfast. I'd be sick all day. I have always had to have solid food for breakfast, and I still do that. But usually later in the afternoon, maybe a sandwich at dinner time. And it didn't help that my family wasn't on board with the keto diet. It was just me all by my lonesome, surrounded by other people who weren't doing it. That made it tough. But the cheating is what took me down and took me out. So beware of the cheat meal. Beware of the cheat day. It just makes it harder to say no the next time. And before you know it, you're not dieting anymore. You're back where you were. So thank you very much for watching. If you've made it this far, please give us that thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't. We could always use subscribers. And we'll see you again here on Putnam's Kitchen. Thank you.